Did Bob Iger and Disney just pull a fast one on Netflix? Well, it appears that is the case, as both of these companies are trying to build their own bundles. Now, bundles have commonly been used in cable subscriptions because you're bundling all kinds of channels together. And cable ended up being a bundle of a bunch of other bundles, with Disney owning a whole bunch of channels, Warner Brothers Discovery owning a whole bunch of channels, Paramount owning channels. Everybody owned more than one channel. That gave them more pricing power when they were negotiating with the bundle provider. But it was the bundle overall that really added value to the entire ecosystem. And the reason that bundles are important is because it brings more content in, reduces churn, and overall increases the value available for everyone in the bundle. Now, thus far, streaming has really avoided bundles outside of random offerings from companies like Verizon, but we're now starting to see that these streaming companies are starting to bundle themselves together. The first to announce this was Disney, who announced a partnership with Max, and that would actually be distributed through the Disney app. But the latest bundle is actually Netflix bundling with Apple TV Plus and Peacock. And what I think is interesting about this is, depending on who you ask, I think Netflix is clearly the number one streamer right now. Disney is probably second in most people's minds. It has the second most users, has its own proprietary content. They're just going to bundle in ESPN in the future. So they're in a really good position. But the company in third place in most people's eyes is Max. And who did Max choose to partner with? Disney. And that left Apple TV and Peacock, which are really kind of also rans in the streaming business, to partner with Netflix. So I want to go through exactly what we know right now and why I think this was actually a huge win for Disney in their hopes of growing in the streaming business. My name is Travis Hoium. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And thanks to this video's sponsor, The Motley Fool. If you go to fool.com/ASYM, they'll give you their top 10 stocks to buy right now. So let's dig into the reporting. Here's an article from The Verge from May 8th. So last week, they were talking about Disney, Hulu, and Max are going to be a streaming bundle on their own. So you can get everything from Game of Thrones to Star Wars and The Bear. And they're even comparing just this bundle to cable TV. I think that's really the vision for Disney, is to be able to provide a ton of content within their service. So you have the current bundle, which is Disney Plus Hulu, and then you can add ESPN Plus. But the ultimate goal is really to replace that with the full ESPN product, which will launch in streaming services in fall of 2025. But in the meantime, they're now adding Max to the bundle. So this gives a huge base of content. Now, we don't know exactly what the price point of this is going to be, but the existing bundles are pretty compelling. $9.99 a month with ads for Hulu and Disney. Without ads, $15.99 a month. The comparison is to Disney Plus on its own with ads, $7.99 a month, or without ads, $13.99 a month. So pretty compelling adding those two together to create a mini bundle. But now we're going to add Max to this. So what is that price going to go to? Maybe it's $25 a month for premium and $15 a month for basic with ads. But I think that would be a pretty good value for consumers, and it makes a ton of sense for both Disney and Warner Brothers Discovery to be able to put all of these things together. Both of these companies are having issues with churn. That's when people cancel their subscriptions. So you want to have your churn be more in the Netflix range of 2% per month. Well, Disney is double that, or maybe a little bit more, at about 4% per month. That means that the average customer needs to be reacquired a little less than every 2 years. That's not great economics. So what you want to do is reduce that churn as much as possible. Keep people just paying their monthly bills. Even if that monthly bill is a little bit lower than buying these services individually, it's actually better for your economics if you just get more people in the system. The other addition is they have a growing ad tier. So that's really going to be the growth driver for Disney long term. And so it wouldn't be surprising for them to push people towards this ad tier when you bundle these three services together. Also wouldn't be surprised if ESPN joins this bundle in fall 2025. But what is Netflix doing in response? And this is what I thought was really interesting. Netflix, Peacock, and Apple TV Plus are bundling as soon as next month. Pricing isn't known, but they have said vastly reduced compared to paying for all three with separate subscriptions. Now, there's a lot in that little statement right there. Vastly reduced compared to paying for all three. That could mean anything. Could mean that Peacock and Apple TV are not getting a lot of money out of this deal, and Netflix is really in the driver's seat, saying, hey, if you want to add an extra $2, $3, $4 per month, and you guys can split that that's probably ultimately a win for those streamers because they have relatively small markets today. Peacock is one company that's really struggling in streaming, losing several $100 million each year. And there really doesn't seem to be a way out. They just don't have the content to be a solid streamer on their own. They don't have the viewer numbers to build a big advertising business. So they have to look for partners on a distribution side. And this is one of the ways that they're looking at doing that, but they're definitely not in a power position. Apple, a little bit different case because Apple has always used Apple TV as kind of a vanity project. They make really great content, but it doesn't have nearly the distribution reach as if that same content were on Netflix or a Disney streaming service. So they're really building out their streaming service and trying to get it onto other devices, not just Apple devices. This is one way to do that. We wouldn't be surprised to see if there wasn't a lot of economics there. The problem for those two streamers and partnering with Netflix is I don't know that they add a lot to the table. The HBO library and that Max library is much more valuable than the library that Apple TV has and the Peacock library that they're bringing to Netflix. So you have to think about these bundles is, are they better than the sum of their parts? And the sum of the parts for Netflix, Peacock, and Apple TV is primarily value from Netflix. And this is going to be distributed through Comcast. So Comcast, which owns Peacock, is going to get some benefits from that bundling. We don't know exactly what that looks like. But it's interesting to see that there are multiple bundles developing and who the power players are in that relationship. It certainly looks like Warner Brothers Discovery kind of had to bend the knee to Disney and Bob Iger to be able to partner with them on their streaming service. And then the also-rans, the one that I haven't talked about is Paramount Plus. I think that one's really in trouble because nobody wants to partner with them. But these two, Apple TV Plus and Peacock, have chosen to go with Netflix. So now you kind of have your two corners, and that could be the two streaming bundles that we see emerge long term. Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. So who wins out in this streaming battle? I think this round definitely goes to Bob Iger and Disney. They have a really compelling service in bundling Max with Hulu and Disney Plus. I think those three together make a ton of sense. Add in ESPN potentially in the fall of 2025. And you could see a streaming service that's going to be $40, $50 a month for the ad-free plan. And a lot of the content there is going to be a lot of the content that we would see on cable today. So that's actually a pretty good value for consumers. That advertising tier, I could also see being a potential growth driver for both of those companies. And I think Disney is going to be handling that advertising side. So I really like that bundle. What you want to see with Disney is moving up what I call the smiling curve, getting more scale. That gives you the ability to buy more content, which makes your content more valuable, which allows you to raise prices. And it's just a virtuous cycle in the streaming business. This happens in a lot of digital businesses. Netflix, I don't know what this bundle really brings them. And I think that's really the challenge. We will see how it plays out. But if it's a heavily discounted bundle, if Netflix is giving up any financials in the discounting process, that's not great for them because they're doing very well on their own, especially in the markets where Comcast is actually going to be able to offer this in the US. And I don't think that Peacock and Apple TV Plus really bring a lot to the table. So I think this is really great news for Disney. Wouldn't be surprised to see some ancillary pieces added to that bundle, but look for that to be a driver of value long term. We'll see how that plays out for Netflix. But this is the reason that I like Disney stock where it is today. You not only get the streaming business, which is growing, just turned to profitability, but you also get that massive parks business as well, which is the huge differentiator versus Netflix. But what do you think about the future of streaming? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.